Hey, we're at MMS 2025 is it called MMS 2025?
You know, I almost didn't know it was 2025 this morning.
Right.
I had to look at my phone to check the year.
The year, that's pretty bad. Okay, bad day then. We're at MMSMOA, Malta, America. This is the best room I've ever seen, really, for recording a video, because we have all of the stuff that's going on behind us, which is great. I'm with Steve. Hi, Steve.
Howdy.
You probably don't need to introduce yourself to my audience, or especially your audience, so...
Yeah, you never know.
Okay.
Oh, sure. I was like, I'm not going to do it, but you never know. I'm Steve Weiner from GetRubix.com, Microsoft Intune MVP, and I'm speaking here this week.
What are you speaking about?
Well, I spoke already, and I spoke about helping folks use the Microsoft Graph for Intune, kind of talking about when to use the console versus when to use Graph to automate things. Talked about using Intune as a security tool to ramp yourself into zero-touch principles. And just this morning, we talked about the Autopilot Survival Guide, which was just a free-for-all of, answering, there you go, answering questions about Autopilot. And that's what we spoke about.
All right. So the graph versus the console.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't the console help you learn graph?
Yeah, it was more about, I guess it was a little misleading. It was supposed to be originally about when would be good scenarios to use each thing, but it was more about correlating and helping folks understand. Well, you can't really know when to use which one unless you know how they work. So it was about when you go look at something in the console, that's like making a GET request, and that kind of correlation, helping folks understand it.
Yeah. So is it 3 sessions are you doing?
3 sessions.
Right. And is that a good thing? Do you like giving sessions?
Well, I love talking. I think that's a good number from talking to folks. I've been talking to some people that are doing 6 or 7, and they're kind of in a frantic state, running around. I would imagine there's a lot of prep. It's one thing to just start, winging stuff, and obviously these topics aren't necessarily difficult for us to talk about, being in this, this is what we do every day. But I think it's very important to make sure you're delivering a quality session. You remember, people spend a bit of change to come out here, and they're given their time, and they want to take something away from it. So, I think 3 was a good number to make sure we had a handle on the content.
You say you imagine a lot of prep. Do you prep for your content?
Well,
I mean, I've been in one of your sessions. I will leave. Do you prep?
It depends. Certain things. So I prep the content on the slides, but that's more there as a backdrop. I have an outline of what I want to cover, but I don't prep what I'm actually going to say, because I don't know until I'm in front of people.
Right.
I need to see the room.
Yeah.
And see where everyone's at. And I also ask questions. We could be planning to talk about, for example, if you're going to talk about, it's like config manager. If you want to say to somebody, I want to tell you all this stuff about config manager. Well, I'd rather walk in the room and say, how many of us are using config manager? And if there's no hands, and I had 3 slides, some people will run through the 3 slides, but it's probably not a good idea to do that. So you got to be able to pivot.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
And being able to pivot sounds like a good idea, but walking in with just pivot as a plan, I think that's pretty ballsy.
It's a balance. You have to have both. Yeah, you have to have an outline. You have to have some content. You actually have to think about the whole session. So you have to think about, man, once I say this, what are some things people might ask, and how do I prepare to pivot in case it could go this way or another? So I try to think about the whole thing from like a design perspective, design the session.
Wow.
Makes sense, yeah.
So you like speaking at
I do.
conferences then?
I do like it. Yeah.
Right. And when did you start?
I started, I had a whole other life before this, so I was no stranger to being on stage. But once I got into technology, I just guess I like explaining things.
Okay.
So back in when I was at Apple, 15 years ago, I would do some workshops and speaking sessions, and and then it just gets, you do more and more. My previous company I was at, I did quite a few and conferences, and then I wound up here.
Wow.
Yeah, I like it.
No, I like it. I don't speak as much as I'd like to, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just doing other stuff.
It's not something you can practice. That's the tricky thing. Like, because you need an audience.
Yep.
You can't really practice in a mirror or
On YouTube.
You can't practice on YouTube. It's very different on
Yeah.
YouTube. We get to hit pause and.
Well, and the feedback loop is incredibly slow on YouTube.
Yes.
Like you record it, and then you get a comment 6 weeks later going, you could have upped the volume or upped the pace.
Right.
Okay.
It's very difficult. It's a whole different animal. It's like the equivalent to in music, a band going into cut a studio album versus playing a live show.
Right.
So I kind of think of it like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. It's good to have that feedback though. There's nothing like speaking in front of people who are there to see you speak versus they happen to be at an event and they're forced to watch, or it's going back to the music days. It's like they didn't come in to watch you, they're just here to eat steak and you're the band playing in that restaurant. So it's when people are coming in to watch you, that's different.
I guess it is, but then you've also got the MMS do co-speakers, right? So you 2 or 3 speakers per session. So you could be the guy they don't want to see, and maybe they're there for the main event.
It throws a wrench on it. That's been interesting. Working with other presenters, it's been fun. I think if they were shorter sessions, MMS they do long sessions.
Very long sessions.
On paper, they're an hour and 45 minutes. That's a long time to talk.
Yeah, it is. And I like the fact that on the schedule, on Sked, there's no break scheduled, because the sessions sometimes run up to the next session.
They do.
And people are sat there for 2 hours. And then they go into another session after grabbing coffee. It's dedication for the attendees.
Yeah, it is dedication. And they like it. There seems to be some lulls in the day. I don't think they all run up, but some of them do, and I think they switch to which ones do.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's a good, I'm talking to people who this is the event that their work will send them to or sponsor or pay for. And I think that makes sense. Like as much fun as something like Microsoft Ignite is, right? It's not the same level of learning here. This is very focused on the workshops and the learning. But yeah, what was my initial thought? Oh yeah, I was gonna say if you were doing a 20-30 minute session, even up to like 45 minutes to a crowd this size, you could get away with one speaker, but yeah, for the almost 2 hours, makes sense to have partners.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also it gives more people a chance to speak.
100%.
Which is good.
Yeah,
and also reassurance of being able to speak to a crowd, because if you get nervous already, you just need some time, then the other speaker, especially what you do with yours, you jump in whenever there's like a millisecond of silence, you're in there with a gag or a joke.
I try. I see when people are like trying to think about where they want to go with something.
Yeah.
And but it depends, right? Pauses can be good, but not if you're losing people.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you might,
Yeah, and having an eye on the audience to see what they're saying.
You have to. It's a difficult thing, right? Yeah. I don't, especially a lot of technical folks. A lot of the speakers are, brilliant technical people, and it's one of those things where, they might, being on stage and reading a crowd might not be their primary thing. They're thinking about their technology, getting through what they want to get through. So it's nice to have someone to help them get through that, I would imagine. Yeah.
And I think that's why I kind of dislike speaking on my own, because you can read the audience, but I don't think I can control the audience as well when I'm on my own as I could if I'm with someone else.
Oh, it's hard,
You can do like a side conversation with the audience to keep it flowing, but you can't do that on your own. You can't just. No. You probably could actually. You're pretty good at completely switching gears.
Yeah, I could. It depends, right? It depends on the content. It depends on where you'd really see me struggle with that is something very like I've done like really in-depth sessions in the past where I'm trying to demo something in real time and I'm showing it, and at that point it's like I got to devote some focus to that. and then I still gotta like keep them with me, so that gets a little hairy sometimes. So it's always good to you be as prepared as you can, because things will go wrong or you have to. But that's also part of the thing. I notice some folks get nervous when, for instance, if you're speaking and you gotta cut from PowerPoint to show Chrome or something, you're in a demo, and people get like worried about that. I'm very loud about it. I like to say that, they know what we're doing. Like, it's not magic. It's okay to tell someone, okay, well, let me close PowerPoint for a second to show you this, or unplug the HDMI cable. I think they all know we have laptops up there and not sorcery. So,
So on that note, actually, are you a fan of pre-recorded video demos or demos that have the potential to go wrong?
Well, I'm always a fan of live. I much prefer a live demo. I think it depends, right? I think with the pre-recorded stuff, it sounds good before the event, because you think, I want to show something and I want to make sure they get to see it, right? And there's a lot of effort that goes into that, and I appreciate it. I think the problem is that's not the whole message when we want to convey. It's not just about showing the thing working perfectly. It's about showing how to work through it. Same thing like with our channels, right? Like, I know me, and it could just be, I leave all kinds of mistakes in when I write scripts. I used to cut that stuff out, and then I left it in once, and someone said, no, we like when you fumble through and write the PowerShell. So I left it in, and I left the mistakes, and I think it makes it more relatable. And it's okay if something fails or gives out, because that's what they're experiencing too.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. It's just another level, right? It might not be what you intended to show, but it does help in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. I when I last spoke at MMS in Miami Beach, I did a recorded demo, and I really regretted it, because I could have just done a much better live demo. But I chickened out and did record it. So
yeah, no, it's a lot of stress. I've given some terrible live demos in my time, so I get it.
Yeah. So you mentioned you are from GetRubix.com.
Yes.
That's a website. You're from a website?
I'm from a website now. So Get Rubix started as a blog that evolved into a YouTube channel, and subsequently a Discord community where I just looked. There's over 1,400 members in it. Wow. Pretty wild. And then as of February, just this past year, it is now my full-time home. So still continuing the social content and the contributions, but services, helping folks adopt Intune, modern work, autopilot. So like advisory, consultancy, that kind of thing. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, as long as whatever they want to pay for it. No, it's so that's my full-time home. Awesome, good. Any feedback to the organizers for MMS? Because I know you've been to Fort Lauderdale, right? Yes, this is my first went to Miami Beach. America one. Yeah. Right. Any comparisons you can draw between that event and this one for people who might want to come along to one of them? Well, yeah, that one was smaller, and I know they moved that one around, right? The fall one. No, this is, I think this is really, when you think about a Microsoft community event, this is kind of the, this is it, right? This is the manifestation of that, because it's logistically, it's a great layout. Right, they put the speakers and then the folks. You could be right in this hotel. This happening right behind us. There's a lot of hangout areas. There's a vendor showcase. The sessions are right around the corner. So it's not small, but it's laid out very well. I mean, it's connected to a mall too, so you're not going to be needing for anything. There's literally everything you can get here. I think this is the one, honestly. I think this is the one to go to if I had to pick one. Now, after being here, going to Ignite, I've been to Build, I've been to, a bunch of different stuff. I think this is the one. I think they do a good job. Shower pressure in the room is a little light. It's like getting rained on. So that's been really the only real complaint. Like kind of Florida rain, or? It's just a very light, almost apologetic rain. It's very weak, and it doesn't, that would probably be my main complaint. But that's beyond their control. They got. I guess so. Although they could probably sway some feedback, there's always room for improvement. But as a whole, I would say this event is a 9.5 out of 10. That's pretty high. It's pretty high. Yeah. I think
I think you should come to this one.
Yeah.
I know the other ones will be great, but I think this one you need to experience because it's hard to describe what this is. And when I first came here like 4 years ago, I loved it for obvious reasons, and I've come back ever since because it's incredible. But I also want to go to the other ones because the other ones are different, right? Music City next, so that's going to be. I have been to Nashville, but I want to go again.
I don't remember if I've been there, but it sounds fun. No, I think there's a lot of value in this too. I think going MMS, spending the money, I think you're going to get a return on it. Because obviously there's a cost to it. But
Well, thanks for spending 17 minutes speaking to me.
Yes.
This is, I think it's a nice break from the event.
It's quiet, there's a chair, absolutely.
Exactly. And a great view, actually. I love it.
You get all the people. That's MMS happening right there.
Indeed. All right. So thanks for chatting, and I'll see you next time.
We'll be seeing you.